Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dylan Silver, and today on the show, I have a retiring lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Air Force, real estate investor, founder of the Financial Freedom Network, Johnny Lynum. Johnny, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here today.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show here. I always like to start off at the top by asking folks how they got into real estate.
Yeah, so for me, humble beginnings, grew up in LA, not on the West Coast, but lower Alabama, small rural town. And for me, it all started with using my VA loan, had just got to my first duty station in 2005. And, for me, the wide wake up for me was, being able to have to get a loved one to sign on my lease for my first apartment complex to get my first, home. And for me, going through college, had an electrical engineering degree, but didn't realize I should have been paying those credit cards they gave me in college on time. And so for me, that was a wake up call, kind of a kick in the pants. And about 11 months later, I got the opportunity to buy one side of a duplex using my VA loan benefit. And I actually got a check back at closing because the seller covered the closing costs. And, that just opened up my eyes to the power of real estate. And I became immediately infatuated with it and started consuming as much as I can. Of course, reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that completely just changed my mindset.
Now, at that point in time, and maybe before that, had you thought about real estate as, a potential career path?
Never had thought about it, potential career path, but I can remember in college, we stayed in University Commons, and I think they had all the way A through M in for the number of the letters that represented units, and they had 12 units per building. And so we would just count and look at, they charged us by the room. And so you had four individuals in one apartment, each paying $600 for the individual room. And so just one day we just sitting around hanging out, and we just kind of did the math on what they were making each month for the rent. I was like, wow, wouldn't it be great to be the owner, with all the money that they're banking, having no clue, circle almost 20 years later, would be able to have over 100 units, with apartment complexes and just doing multifamily deals now. It's been an amazing journey.
It's funny that you mentioned that, Johnny. I had a guest on the show here recently who was a professional basketball player in the 80s, played against Jordan, had gone to BYU, and his career now, and I want to say his kids are involved in the business too, if I'm not mistaken, is student housing out at BYU, I believe. It's either BYU or another college, but the student housing is tremendous and a huge opportunity. And I mean, you think about it, they need housing. Like it's not an optional thing. It's like you're going to school, unless all the schools become remote, which is not going to happen anytime soon. They need housing. And so it's like a guarantee that it's going to be there. The only time where that wasn't the case was basically during COVID, and we're since beyond that. So it's funny that you mentioned that, because so many people, it's either rolled into the student loan or, they're just paying it. It's not even a question asked. It's like, hey, we need housing.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Yeah, no, facts. Kids aren't going to school and living out their car, for 4 years. So
Yeah.
you have to find some type of housing. And I think that's the opportunity now, especially when you start looking at like the 1% rule and some of the metrics that have been around for forever on just how to underwrite and analyze deals. But now with just the run up in appreciation of housing over the last 4 or 5 years, that now that you have to become more creative with some of the strategies. And I think being able to rent a house out by the room to students, that it just allows you to increase that cash flow in a way where it makes sense with being able to afford to pay the prices for housing today. So yeah, no, great
I want to
opportunity.
I want to pivot a bit here, Johnny, and ask you about scaling a real estate portfolio or a business within real estate when you also have a intensive job. I mean, military, but really, you can imagine any job, it can be challenging. Even one job where you might be in the same area, but let's say, you're an accountant, you work a 9 to 5 and you feel, maybe a little beat up at the end of the day. How do people find maybe the bandwidth to do this? And how did you find the bandwidth to do it?
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And I get that one a lot. And for me, it was, having that entrepreneurial spirit. I had a lawn care company when I was 16, had a car wash business kind of the summer after my freshman year in college. And I always really been driven to, create a business and to be able to be self-sufficient, where my dad was an entrepreneur. And so, waking up Sunday mornings, not being able to watch Saturday morning cartoons and having to be forced to go with him to his repair business. Initially as a child, it wasn't fun, but looking back on it, it gave me a strong foundation and work ethic. And I think really that it comes down to once you get to the point that your why or the reason why you're doing these things, you're investing in real estate, you're looking to build more passive income. Once that why becomes more powerful than excuses of I can't do it, I'm tired, or I got to make this sacrifice. Like that's when I had the internal transformation that hey, I'm gonna do this come hell or high water. And it was some sacrifices. I joke and say that, I've been working 2 jobs for the last 10
Yeah.
years with leading my real estate investing business and while still serving active duty Air Force. But looking back at it now that I'm stepping into retirement from the Air Force, that it was 100% worth the sacrifices. And now I get a lot more freedom to spend time with the family and going through it. But there were some moments, man, where you have to gut check and say, hey, was it really worth it? Am I doing the right thing? And you sometimes second guess yourself. But at the end of the day, that there have been plenty of people that have found success in real estate. And so why not me? And I think that gives me the wherewithal to keep moving forward.
It's amazing. Real estate is a great equalizer when it comes to building a business, building wealth. And, one of the things that I think about is as far as like goal setting and, people talk about, well, graduating from school or getting a promotion. With real estate, it's so tangible that I think once you see that proof of concept, in a way, you start to feel the momentum. Because it's like before you close the first deal, or I'm a wholesaler and a real estate agent, before you get that first wholesale deal from the cradle to the grave, it kind of seems impossible. It's like, well, I'm going to make money, but I never actually closed on the home. And then someone else comes, like, why would that work? And then you do it one time and you're like, whoa. And then you do it 3 times and you're like, I see how this is working. And so for me, that was kind of my aha moments, was when I was realizing like, hey, I'm seeing how other people are doing this. I feel like I can go do it. And then went out and did it. And I said, okay, this is kind of the niche, the field that I want to play in. Before we hopped on the podcast here, Johnny, you mentioned that you had moved into purchasing, 20 to 40 unit complexes. Was that always the goal after that first VA loan, or were you doing fix and flips before then? How did it scale to that point?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, that's a really good one because it wasn't. And, and I tell people that you grow into the person that you're going to become, that none of us really set out, on the destination with that endpoint in mind. And for me, it started using my VA loan. That's that first property I purchased, next time I moved with the military, that became a rental. And then I started looking for foreclosures to purchase using my VA loan. So I did that two more times with the move. But after that second move, I started looking for no kidding true rental properties. And our first property we bought was a $25,000 house in Birmingham, Alabama, where my wife was from. And getting the cash flow and and getting it rented out on Section 8. And we kind of saw the proof of concept. And from there, a couple years later, after we had our first son, that we decided for my wife to come out of the workforce, stay at home. And that was more beneficial than, just in the DC metro area with the commuting and child care watch. You had to pay for that, which was a
DC
mortgage
is
in
very
itself.
expensive. Yeah.
Yes, it is. And so we made that decision. And so, subsequently we did our first fix and flip house. And after that, it was just one house at a time. And eventually we got multiple deals simultaneously, had to start raising money. But for that transition to multifamily, was 2019. And, had tore my ACL May of that year, went to a Jake and Gino event in Orlando, Florida in October of 19. And my mind was blown on just like ordinary people, less experienced than me. At that point, we had probably flipped a couple dozen homes. And just to see the process to buy an apartment where, I had this limiting belief that you had to have $1 million in the bank,
Right.
a huge sum of money in order to qualify for a loan and do those type of deals. And so my mind just was blown from that experience. And about 45 days later, I put a LOI in on our first apartment, 18 unit in Panama City, Florida, that I found just preparing for a appraisal, looking for the vacant lot behind me that was a commercial lot for sale. And I stumbled across this 18 unit that had been on the market for over 90 days that still had some hurricane damage, and put an offer in, and over the next 60, 90 days, we got it under contract and kind of worked the price and everything. And yeah, and we were blessed to be able to get the deal closed.
Did your wife at any point in time facilitate with any of the real estate activities, or has she? That's not something she's interested in.
Yeah, so over the years, she has grown into it, especially when we found this probably was about 2017. We found out about the real estate professional designation from the IRS that allowed us to bring our passive losses over into, to offset my military active income. But with me, with the nature of my job, the majority of my career, I worked in a secure location, so I couldn't take my cell phone with me during the day into work. And so, while I'm out of pocket, that she was the one, making payments to Home Depot for the materials for the guys,
Yeah.
working with the, municipalities with turning on utilities and things like that. So she was kind of the linchpin that was working behind the scenes with kind of orchestrating everything throughout the middle of the day.
Yeah, I mean, she's running the business. She's making the payments. She's doing a
Yeah.
lot of things. She's holding it down. That's no small task. I mean, I would say maybe 20 to 50% of people talk about their biggest uh, concern or biggest hurdle is materials and contractors. And so if she's dealing with that, that's, tremendous. I do want to pivot and ask you about, you mentioned the deal in Panama City when you kind of happened to come across it, and then you go from fix and flip to a larger deal like that. How did you decide to take down that deal, to put in that LOI? Did you have people who were doing something similar, or was this more of a figure out on the fly type of situation?
It was definitely the latter. It was a figure it out on the fly. I can remember to the, to the exact place. I was in the back seat of of the truck, and I put in $1 million offer on the building. They had it listed originally for 1.35 million. I made the offer over the phone to the broker for 1 million. My wife, she looked back at me. She's like, "You just made $1 million offer on that property?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I got a spreadsheet from one of the guys I met networking at the multifamily event." I was like, "It's no way they're getting 850 a month with the for the 2 1s for the rent right now." I was like, "It's no way that I can mess this up at buying
Yeah.
at paying $1 million for it just based off the existing cash flow with only with it having 4 units down."
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
And we ended up splitting the difference. They wanted 1-1. We ended up splitting the difference and ended up at 1,050,000. But it was a leap of faith, 100%. We had been doing really well in our fix and flip business. So we had some cash set aside. And I took the leap of faith, with looking at the numbers and just the project itself, that I felt really comfortable with going in and making it happen, especially, with the banking relationship that I had built as well, too, with a local credit union that ended up doing the loan for us as well. And so, but it was going through and leaning on my network and on my experience to that date to get there, and reading some new books about how to put debt together and promissory notes versus equity for those type of apartment transactions that really helped us structure them in a way where we can own long term.
And now it sounds like there was a multifamily event or a group that or people that you were in contact with, connecting with, who may have been some influence on this deal, who may have been the inspiration or just a shoulder to lean on this deal.
100%. Going to that event completely changed my mindset. And the thing is, like, you don't know what you don't know. And getting in the right rooms and getting access to the right information, that it completely opened up a new world to me in regards to multifamily. So that inspired me because if without that event, I don't think I would have took that leap or even looked at that apartment in a way where I would be interested in knowing how to put an offer together to offer it and knowing how to put the deal together without that information, without attending that event, and the networking with just everyday people who were doing commercial deals to, exchanging phone numbers, having lunch, to where now, once I get back home and I find this deal, less than 2 months later, where I can pick up the phone and have a phone call and kind of get some insight for them to help me kind of walk through and making sure that I'm doing things the right way.
Yeah, I mean, no question. Having other people who've been there is, I would say, the fastest way to leapfrog time, to kind of figuratively time travel, because otherwise you're going to be stuck in figuring it out yourself. And in many cases, I've seen this, trying to get so book smart that you don't have to do a lot of the work that could potentially be high risk, high liability, but it's all risky. As you know, it's all risky. So even if you do all that, things tend to not go perfectly straight. And so having those people to lean on is so crucial. I can say from my experience, when I didn't know what I didn't know, I just couldn't understand how people could just go dive in with no kind of support network. I envied those people. I was like, man, these people who don't have the connections and they don't really have the knowledge, and they're just going out here making offers and like getting properties in the contract, don't have a buyer lined up, and then just figuring out on the fly, like, that takes guts. I can't do that. So I wasn't that extreme, but I nonetheless saw the value in all sides. But networking to me has been kind of the thing that I would say, more so than anything else, has been pivotal, more so than the book smarts. Getting in front of as many real estate entrepreneurs who are doing what I want to be doing was the motivation and kind of the North Star for me.
Yeah, no, that's great. That your network is your net worth, and it works. Kind of, I would say that John Wayne, using a Western analogy, just kind of getting out there and figuring it out, guns are blazing. But it's risky, and
So
you can put yourself at risk, your family, your well being, and so the thing is, it's like find the wisdom to be able to learn from other people's mistakes. There's no need of you to be out here making the same mistakes that tons of other people have already made. And so I think, being around experienced people that already are doing what you're doing is extremely smart and well worth the investment of your time and money.
Johnny, I want to ask you about fix and flipping versus purchasing, these smaller complexes, 20 to 40 units. Two different realms, right? Do you like one better than the other? Are you feeling like you're going to continue to do a little bit of both, or are you thinking I'm going to move completely to purchasing these types of smaller complexes?
Yeah, I think that's one that, initially I kind of went back and forth on, and I kind of ended up now with just the 20 to 40 units, whereas that the ability to scale, the cash flow that you can bring in on those type of deals. I know right now the Senate is debating on making the 100% bonus depreciation and
Yeah.
permanent, and the benefits that come with that from a tax perspective, as well as just the economy of scale with having everything co-located in one area. That it's a grind. We're doing the flips and finding your next deal and going through the project. Each home is different. That for me, it makes sense where I'm at the point now. It's like if I do one multifamily deal a year, we're good. We're good. That's great. That's a
Yeah.
great cadence to go with. Still very profitable, and you're not chasing, where you're trying to do 5 to 10 flips, during the year. So for me, it's just easier, and I'm at the point now in my investment journey where I'm in somewhat conservation mode, and my risk tolerance isn't
Right.
there, and the headaches that I'm willing to take on
Flips.
I'm not willing to take on a lot of those anymore.
Yeah, flipping is an interesting game because especially with like the HGTV, proliferation of flippers and all these people, it seems like, oh, this is so great. But I know a lot of flippers who are losing money, and it's difficult and it's challenging, and it's definitely a way to quickly put yourself in a hole if you don't know what you're doing, I think. And oftentimes I think it might not be as, I would say, um, doing a long-term rental or burring in and out of properties might not be as in vogue as flipping. But if you're talking about conservation and kind of making the what's the saying? The fastest money is slow money, right? So not being worried about that quick flip. And honestly, when I talk with investors, one of the biggest regrets that people have is selling their fix and flips.
Yep, 100%. That you look back, and a lot of times, you have to do it for liquidity and things like that to keep the business going. But you look at some of those. Hey, if I had figured out and kind of kept 10 or 15 of those, it's like, okay, I can just go sit back and kick my heels up, and with the
Yeah.
appreciation and cash flow and everything, it's like that.
Well, Johnny, we are coming up on time here. Where can folks go to learn more about your business or get in contact with you?
No, great. My website is a great resource, johnnylynum.com. You can find me there, as well as on LinkedIn and Facebook. I'm out there as well too. And yeah, and just love to connect with other real estate investors and those that are looking to try to get off the roller coaster of the stock market and find opportunities to build more passive income through syndications as well as other opportunities to do private lending. So.
Johnny, thank you so much for coming on the show here today.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.